This is Lair Media. To whom it concerns, welcome to the panel. Good evening, everybody. Welcome along to this edition of the panel on lairmedia.tv. Our usual email, info@lairmedia.tv. Phone number, and if you want to make any comments, you can email us anytime. And it's Sunday, the 19th of March 2023, and it's just gone 9 o'clock on this Sunday evening. And welcome along, Guy Jones.
Good evening, everybody. I hope you had a great weekend.
Brilliant. And good evening, John Lonergan, and welcome again.
Good evening, Pat. Good evening, Guy. How are you?
Good evening,
Now,
John.
this is a fluid, generic program. We just put in a few pointers for people, but we're liable to speak about anything else. And we hope to be here every Sunday night, depending on us, but we'll do the best we can. Now, and don't forget to press the red button to subscribe to our channel. Now, today obviously was Mother's Day, and it is. Now, Guy, you're in this country long enough to realize how esteemed, how the mothers are held in. The mother in any family, doesn't matter what country you're in, I believe myself, the mother in any family is the glue, is the fantastic that keeps the family together, Guy. Would that be true for you as well, you know?
Very, very much so. We have a saying in Arabic. It says "im," which is the mother, "bitlim," which is gathers. So the mother gathers. She is the one who gathers the family around her. So, and you realize only when the mother is not around how the family goes dispersed into different directions. So absolutely. She is an important person in our lives, that's for sure.
And I know that your mom is still alive, you know?
Yeah, she is. Yeah. I'm going to see her in a couple of weeks. So
excellent. And John, what about you, John? Would the same be true for you and the mammies?
Oh God, yes. My mother is. Oh, she's fantastic. I don't know how she reared us. Being honest, with the pittance of money that my father was on, and you know, it amazes me what she was able to do with her few bob, you know. And you remember then every month then the gas man would come around and counting out the money, and there'd always be a shilling left over. She always gave us something to go to the shop to buy sweets. You know, it was a highlight of the month, you know. But she always managed and are amazing, like every mother.
Yeah,
amazing women.
And my own mum passed away 2 years ago, but I mean, obviously, it's poignant, all right, for us. And you're right; it doesn't matter what age you are. As I say, I don't know, people might say I'm old enough to have sense, but I don't. I grew up in the 50s and 60s. There were 9 of us there, and my dad had casual work. He didn't have a full-time job until the sugar company built a factory just down the road from us. So he had what we call regular work then. But as you said, there'd be times when I'd be sitting at home and my friends would be going out, and they wouldn't be going out just to the picture somewhere. But we wouldn't have a lot of money. So anything that required money, we'd sit it out. But Mum said to me one evening, "Are you not going out with her?" I said, "No, sure, I've no money." So she disappeared out of the kitchen, down into the bedroom, came back up with what I can only describe as like winning the lotto, a red 10 shilling note. Do you remember the red 10 shilling note?
Yeah.
It was like getting €100 at the time. Don't ask me where she got it. You know, I have no idea. As I said, with 9 of us to feed and my dad and ourselves, it's just. But Mum is missed. My mum is missed anyway, as indeed any of our mums that have passed away. But it is. I think it is. It's not being unkind or not kind to our dads. Obviously, our dads have a different role in the family. But when the mother passed away, you know, there is a little bit of the love, the comfort, the certainty of her just being there is very much missed, I think myself, you know. That's just my own personal reading of it, you know.
Exactly. It's like, thank God my mother is still alive and she's doing well. Like she's been on for, so she was a bit down there for a couple of weeks because In the last 9 months, she's lost three of her brothers, and
Oh,
the last one was only 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and she was very down, down altogether. But thank God she gets out. The only voice she has is ever had was bingo, and once she gets out to bingo, and I think personally, and it's some people say it's a form of gambling, but my God, it keeps her mind so active.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, like she's always constantly looking at numbers, and she doesn't need glasses to be looking at anything like that. It's just fantastic.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So we like to pay tribute to the mothers. It's a universal feeling. It's a universal thing. Anyway, it's not confined to Ireland. Although I'm sure, Guy,
100%.
you're in the country long enough to know how the Irish mammy is held in Ireland as well. But and dad,
Well,
and I bet you look forward to seeing your mum still.
oh, definitely, definitely. I mean,
Yeah,
I do anything to just spend a few days with her. So
Yeah,
you understand the distance isn't there. I mean, unfortunately, like
yeah,
something kind of breaks my heart, but makes me happy at the same time. It's every Sunday when you go out with your family and you see that there are people having their mothers or their fathers out
yeah,
for lunch or something.
yes,
yeah,
I love that because I miss it. I
yeah.
don't
Of
have the
course.
luxury. I don't have the
absolutely.
luxury, so I kind of
And
appreciate that as it is. Yes.
And indeed, from a son's point of view, no matter how many scrapes you got in, and we all have got into scrapes growing up and did things we shouldn't have done, it didn't matter. Once you came in the door of your own house, there was that acceptance of you with all your difficulties, with all your faults. Your mother still loved you, still
That's
Yeah,
true.
found a place for you, and that was extremely important, very important for children growing up, and that's the one thing I always say to my own kids: look, it doesn't matter where I am, you'll always have a key to my door, no matter where you are, and feel free anytime to because it's very important. Anyway,
it's a
the
course.
panel is the program on learnmedia.tv. Press the red button to subscribe to our channel and tell all your friends about us. We've had a double weekend now this weekend because not alone have we Mother's Day today, which is the day we're broadcasting on Sunday the 19th, but we just finished our National Day, the St. Patrick's Day festivities. And Guy, I say, put us all to shame. We're going to share that photograph, Guy, at the end of the show. We'll put it up in the program because I can't describe it because it wouldn't do you justice. But if you can imagine priests wearing green and a crozier and a lovely those green hats on your head. I tell you, it was fantastic to. But obviously, Guy, apart from all the slagging, you enjoyed the occasion, no doubt.
Big time, big time. Anyway, it's reminiscent a little bit about the 2005. We left Ireland. We were about 80 Irish veterans of the Irish army, and we visited Lebanon, and we had a St. Patrick's parade in Beirut.
Oh,
Yeah,
Wow.
brilliant, brilliant.
facilitated by the Lebanese army in the middle of
Wow.
town center, in Beirut,
That
and
must that must have been a sight to behold.
it was amazing day, an amazing day. I will share those photos with you for another
But
time.
do please, and we put them up for our friends because I mean we are, I suppose, John, being Irish on St. Patrick's Day, there's a huge sense of pride. I mean, look, let's face it, we are a very small island, we are really a small island. But, and I think most countries might say that, but we're not saying that. The Irish are held in high esteem. As Guy said, we know that as in the army side of things and in the United Nations and all of that, we are renowned the world over for our peacekeeping duties. But, John, it's great to be Irish on that day because there's a huge feel good factor about it as well, despite all our difficulties.
It's amazing, as I keep saying, this we're a small little dot. You look at the world map, and we're a small little dot of an island. If you don't know your geography, and you were asked to pick Ireland out of a map, of the world, my God, you'd find it hard. Someone would find it hard to pick it out. And yet, in every corner of the world, St. Patrick's Day is celebrated. Now, that's the proudest to me as an Irish person. The proudest thing to see people wearing shamrocks, seeing people wearing green. Um, there's a lot of people cribbing about, that people go out and they get drunk and but that's what people want to do. But they go out and they sing Irish songs and rebel songs, and it brings, to me, it brings everybody into the one family. And if every country could have something like that, I think the whole world would be a lot more peaceful place. I mean, how people can revel together for one day for a small country, and yet they go to war for drop of a hat for something else.
It is, Guy, and of course, down in Kilkenny had your own St. Patrick's Day parade.
Correct,
We had one here in Shannon as well, and Cork had a big one. But I mean, it is true what John says. Everybody, I think it gives people a lift, out of their travails and their troubles, and there's lots of it around. But I think St. Patrick's Day gives people a perspective of, let's all be friendly we could do it every day of the week. We should do it every day of the week. And hopefully we do it the best we can. But that's one day that we make that extra effort. Did you notice that in Kilkenny now yourself?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I wish we had a day like this in Lebanon, because this is like a day of reconciling with everything and everybody and having fun and enjoying it.
Yeah.
This is the great part, really, and it's so cultural and so, it has expanded globally at this stage. It's everywhere.
Now, John, and I won't slag him anymore, but John, you and I didn't dress up, but I'll tell you, Guy has put us to shame. I'll tell you, John, when you'll see the photographs, you'll understand. And listeners, we don't want any derogatory comments now, because he did the best he could.
Yes, please.
But he is free to sign autographs at next year's St. Patrick's Day parade in Kilkenny City. Mind you, you'll have to head down there to see him. But it is fun. As I said, it's family, it's everybody, and everybody is positive and smiling. And I think, as you said, Guy and John, we need more of that to go around, because
I'll tell you a good one. Oh, Pat, sorry for cutting across you.
No, belt away.
I didn't go to any parade, right? Because my son is running his old dancing school.
Yeah.
And there was an invitation from Cork Airport to go up in his school to go and perform in Cork Airport on Patrick's Day. So they gave us a slot from 9:30 until 11:30. And they went up, little small ones, and a couple of we couldn't bring up many, because the area wasn't really big, but it was sufficient. We brought up our own mats and the music, and the kids went up and they danced, and they got a great reception, people coming off the planes, and everything was great. And as the day went on, we had another event down in the Marina Market, the famous Marina Market in Cork, and that went down great. Social media went wild. And lo and behold, Saturday morning, we were on Good Morning America.
Go away.
Yeah, the little kids run, and they were seen in Malaysia, New York, everywhere. Every country in the world had them. It's gone wild. They're so good now, right?
You must share that with me sometime. And
you know what? The GIF, you can put a GIF on. We say somebody's birthday, or you can put a GIF as a birthday cake or whatever.
Yeah.
They actually have a GIF now of the kids dancing above in the airport. That was put on by somebody. I don't know who done it.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. The whole thing it's gone global. Yeah. It's fantastic. But that's my point about St. Patrick's Day. A simple a gesture from the kids, to go up and dance up there. And it just went. I mean, Good Morning America. Like, you couldn't pay for that. That publicity, you couldn't pay for it.
And that's still a very, very popular and hugely watched program as well. GMH, Good Morning America. It's an institution in the United States. Good Morning America. But
Yeah,
sometimes I know myself, I'm guilty of it. Sometimes we can become too cynical about some aspects of political life. I know a lot of our politicians, and many of them went away for St. Patrick's Day. But I heard a very interesting program this morning. I mean, not eulogize the politics, but there are certain things that if you and I flew out to America for a parade, if you're a junior minister or a minister or a teacher, there are doors that open around that week, There are doors you can walk through as
Yes.
an Irish representative that week in America, particularly to generate business and contacts. And they were saying it's just all these lunches, it's just fantastic. They were speaking about a business company. I mean, we think, as just going back to the other side of it, we think everybody has heard of Ireland. No, they would during St. Patrick's Day and this week. But there are some companies who do not have a gateway into Europe, which I've forgotten about. And Ireland is an English-speaking country still. And so and we're in the EU as opposed to Great Britain now, who's not in it. So
Yeah.
we have an idea as an English-speaking country for to get that connectivity into the country again and that foothold into the EU market. So it's hugely important, despite all the other things. But so I said there are positive things going to be happening as well, because we need more business, we need more people set up, we need more business in the country.
Pat, what it does as well, it consolidates the diaspora, because
Yes,
diaspora kind of, let's say, would be dispersed, let's say, would not be as gathered as a community. But on that particular day, they would be, first of all, proud. They would be, and that will generate lots of positivity as well,
absolutely,
locally.
absolutely right.
And yeah.
So, despite all the slagging and all, we don't slag everybody,
Ah,
only some people. But St. Patrick's Day is very important, and it's very important locally, nationally, and internationally. And we make no apologies for anything or anybody. So, we let our hair down, and we have a good positive effect, and hopefully, it'll have a good effect on the community afterwards. Because the community gets together. You said, Guy and John, the communities get together. They put on a parade, and it's not just a parade, it's everybody, grannies, granddads, uncles, aunts, children, everybody is involved in it. So one way or the other. So that's just fantastic. You're with
it's
you're with John Lonergan, Guy Jones, and myself here on the panel on Sunday the 19th of March, Mother's Day. And tell all your friends about us. info@learmedia.tv is our email. Press the red button on the right hand side to subscribe to our channel, and we thank you for all the views and thank our panel here who make it possible for this to happen on most Sunday nights anyway. Now, obviously, we'll just turn to a serious topic for the moment, because it's a topic that has touched many people, and it's just a general view of, I suppose, it's a reflection back to us all of the fragility of life and the way it is, because suicide is something that's killing a lot of mainly young men, I say, all over the country, and particularly in our area here, we've been touched by a good few now in the last 2 months here in Shannon, where I live, and it's something that I've been thinking about, not because of that, but as I drive around and talk to many, many people, because I'm semi-retired or half-retired, so I have time to speak to people. And there isn't any answer, really, and that's not to depress me. There isn't any answer to the problem. That's obvious. But we can create conditions, I believe, in society that will help to make it less likely to happen, Guy. I don't know about you, about down in Kilkenny, what way this statistically you'll be talking about it down there, or have you known people who have taken their own lives?
I'm not sure about the statistics, but I know for a fact that I know of at least 4 or 5 cases in the last 3 to 4 years. And there would be well-established people. So it's not necessarily the young and the
Yeah,
vulnerable and
yeah,
those who are still trying to fray a way for themselves in life or whatever. So
yeah,
it hits everybody and anybody. Now, the one thing that I did a course on mental health first aiding. And I believe the role is about detecting mental health issues, because suicide is actually associated as well in one way to mental health. So if there are many of us, there would be normal people. I mean, just you and me, and
Yeah,
anyone else as well. John, you could actually experience that yourself. That if you could detect the signs of somebody going through something like this, that will help a lot, rather than realizing later and saying, "How come I did not notice? I did not
right.
see it happening. How come it happened?" And I was totally oblivious of all the signs and the signals.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
So if we can push through your program here and our audience to make more of this to be available, and they're called mental health first aiders. They're not specialists. They're not psychologists. They're
All
not
right. Oh, I see.
psychotherapists. They're just normal people who would be sitting around, let's say, in an office, and they will probably detect one of their colleagues and at work. I mean, once I was actually appointed that, yeah, mental health first aider, I thought that is going to be just the title, the name, you know.
Mm.
I actually been contacted by 5 or 6 people out of my colleagues, some people that you would be the least suspecting that they would have an issue
Yeah,
that they
yeah.
would actually would like to talk about to a third party who is not going to be judgmental.
Judgmental.
Yes,
And I was like totally surprised, and I'm very proud that they actually put that trust in me, first of
Mm.
all. And I
yes.
was able to look at my books and say, what is the right procedure? Because we are not supposed to take any or give any advice on the matter, except that telling those people who are totally in need that there are ways and doors and opportunities, just
Oh,
to
Yeah.
show them. Yeah. So I am very sorry to hear about the incident that you reported
yeah, yeah.
in Shannon.
Yeah. He was.
It's very, very bad, and I compassionate, but at the same time, I'm say maybe this is a platform, the right platform to actually push this mental health
Well,
first aid.
mental health. That's a new one. I mean, John. What about you? I mean, it touches
I
every
I
community, John.
I I agree with what Guy is saying there. I done a little bit. Again, something happened, and I done a little bit of. I went to a course, and I learned a lot from it. I probably didn't learn as much as Guy did, but um, trying to see the signs before it happens. And my own theory is it's mainly men. It's the majority of is men, and it's very prevalent. It was prevalent since the crash in 2008, 2009. Um, and I think it became because people didn't have they don't have any goals for. And I was speaking to a young man today, just by chance. He's from a different part of the country, and we were talking about how many men are living at home, how many couples have had to go back home, and I think that is a bit of the problem is that they have no goals now. I think we said something like this in our program before. When we were growing up, we get out, get a job.
Yeah,
Didn't matter what job you had, you got a job. So then you could have money to spend. And you go out and you meet a girl, and then your girl, you want to get married, then you want to have a home, and then you want to have a family,
yeah,
right? And you know, you had other things in between, but there's no goals for that now. And this is why I think you see a lot of the young men, they have nothing to aim for, and what they were aimed for, they can't afford now. And it's in a man's mind. I personally think that a man needs to be, and this is not disregarding any woman. Or I'm not. I'm only talking from the men's side of.
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
fence. A man needs to be working, as in his mind
Active.
working,
Active.
active, so that he has a goal. He's got something to go for. He's got something to achieve. And when that's gone from you, and I've noticed that now since I've retired, I'm not working, so my days are endless. Now I have things to do. Thank God, my wife is still working, so I'm able to bring her to and fro work. But there was a time when I was going, like, what am I doing now? What's my goal now?
Yeah.
Is my goal to survive?
Yes.
And then what happens in this country? The government take everything off us. They're making it hard for us to pay for everything. And they're the small things that I'm sure Guy will probably agree with me. They're the things that are on people's minds. And I don't want him to divulge what these other people said to him. But I know for a fact myself from listening to other people, they are the things that are on men's minds. I hope I'm making sense.
And Guy, we were I'm just thinking as you were speaking there. We were speaking about the education system a couple of programs ago, guys.
Yes.
Remember?
Yes.
And I think that for young men and women as well, they're all educated together now. In the pre-teens, before they leave that secondary school, to be equipped with some. I don't even can formulate a sentence about it, but be given the tools and some tools whereby and aids and help that they can lean on when they leave 15, 16, 17-year-olds, because they're just going out now. They're leaving the security of the school system, and they're going
Yeah.
out to be an adult, to be a young adult.
Yeah.
So it's important that they be equipped with some life skills. There should be more kind of discussion in classes, especially in fifth and sixth year. Is there a sixth year anymore in school? Is there?
Yes, it is the leaving, sir.
Mm.
The
Yeah,
leaving.
yeah. So they should be equipped with that. It shouldn't be all about exams. It should be about relationships, emotions,
Um,
mental health.
but I would love to see or to read a study about what I'm gonna say. You know that a child is born, and one of the first aims is maybe standing up, and maybe doing the steps, or maybe crawling and to stand up, and
Yeah,
then jumping on the a couch, and then being able to reach out to things. This resilience is built in us
yeah,
as humans. As
yeah,
humans, we are built with the resilience. We have it.
yes,
Where and how we lose it along the way, this is where probably a nice study should be conducted on where we lose this resilience. Some of us keep it and it can carry on in life, and some of us need a booster. And then the others, they really kind of need to be supported, right? So I believe that I'm sure we don't lack the expertise in this country to conduct a study like this, and I believe it would be very interesting. I would love
yes,
to read anything about this subject. Where do we lose our resilience? We're born with
exactly.
it. We're born with it. Nobody can argue with that. We're born
I,
with it.
I, I, I personally think we lose it. And there was an elderly gentleman said it to me a good few years ago. When we go into school, and maybe go, I don't know about your school now, Guy, but Pat will verify this. When we went to school first, if you weren't the brightest
Hmm,
spark in the class,
hmm,
and you might have been a little bit rebellious or whatever, you were first of all, when you go into school, you're told where to sit. You sit down there now and keep your mouth shut. And when you want to go to the toilet, you put your hand up in the air. Isn't that right, Pat?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
my time.
And sometimes there were some kids were afraid, so afraid of the teacher that they'd pee in their pants, right? Because they, and sometimes the teacher wouldn't leave them out to go to the toilet.
Yeah,
And when they'd soil themselves, they would then have to put out their hand and get a slap with the leather strap. So there's where our resilience is under control. I think, again, it's my opinion.
Well, that was an era. I grew up in that era as well. But I think that today, there's no doubt. But we have innate resilience, as Guy said. We learn how to crawl. Doesn't matter what family we're in. We learn how to crawl first and slide along on our bum, and then one day we discover we can stand up. And the next day we can discover we can take 1 or 2 steps standing
But
up.
we're not told that, Paddy. That's my
No,
point about God. That comes from within.
that's in us. But that resilience, I think, is within us. But as you said, it can get stunted. It can get beaten down. It can get less important for people, and you can become distracted. But young men, especially, I think that young men. How many of us here, like how many people will be looking at this program later on, hopefully, and how many of us here have still got friends from who we went to school with? I mean, I'm not going to say whether I have or not, but just saying people should ask these questions. How many really, really good friends do we have? Whereas, like say I say a guy is my best friend, I could phone a guy up at 10 to 3 in the morning, and there's no problem. How many of us have people like that we can? The world is closing in. I can phone Jim or John or whoever they may be, and that's fantastic. I'm lucky. I'm blessed that I have 3 or 4 good friends. I have more than 3 or 4, but that I can just call into them unannounced, and they do the same to me, and that's very important, you know.
Pat, when I went through my little bit as well, which I went through a little bit of it, actually this time last year, last year when I got my knee replaced.
I know.
It was 2 or 3 friends that I was holding on as a crutch, outside of my wife and my son.
Yeah.
But there was 2 or 3 friends that I was holding out a crutch to. And if I didn't meet them on the day that I met them, and if they didn't happen to pass, I don't know would I be still here. And it's very, very true in what you said. How many people are out listening or watching this now who have got a list of friends that they call, not even that they can call, that we've all lost touch with people through no fault of our own, and it needs to be regenerated for the men. No, again, I'm not being sexist or biased or anything, but a lot of the men do hold a lot of these things in, and they need to be able to talk to somebody and talk to them. You know, if you can meet someone face to face, phone is great, phone is very good, but I felt I had to speak to somebody face to face, and thank God I did.
Yeah. Well, Guy, just could you, a mental health first aider, you said, was it?
Yeah.
I never heard of that, I must say, you know.
It's now common.
I didn't either, no.
Yeah.
It is now more and more common, especially in corporate companies.
That sounds just fantastic. It's, as you said, what is it? Just basic training, basic awareness, basic. What is it?
It's a 2-day course, and it's an official course. Actually, you get certified for being a mental health first aider, and it is a clear cut about your role. Your role is only to detect it. Your role is to be a passive listener and to be able to just open those doors. Did you know that there is this? And did you know that there is that? And there is so many layers and layers and departments and this and that actually provide help. But do you know about them in your moment?
Easy accessible, Guy?
Yes, they are accessible. Yes, yes.
They're not like going to a hospital and waiting in a trolley for 3 days.
No. Phone call away. A phone call away. That's the thing. But do we know about them?
No.
If in my moment of dire, in my moment of despair, do I know that they exist? No. This is the role of a mental health first aider.
Well, what you're
Brilliant.
saying to me is an eye opener, because that's my first time hearing that, and
Yeah,
it's comforting, it's positive, and I think really if we did nothing else when we're finished tonight, just build up and look up that and look it up and build up awareness about it, and maybe find out where there aren't more courses being provided on it in our own area, which is where we start anyway, you know. So that's positive, you know.
There
That's very
should be
positive.
many people. There should be many. It's not just the one or two or whatever.
Yeah.
It's not like a
Mm.
peace constable. We have to
yeah,
have
yeah.
many people, many
No,
people. Yeah,
no. The more people who, even for your own resilience, for your own self-awareness, for that to be available for people, is a comfort itself, you know. And I think that more and more, you know, there's lots of things in our lives that happens, and we don't give it a second thought until something visits our
yeah,
own door, unfortunately,
yeah.
and or our own community or whatever, you know. And you can see the complete emptiness when a devastating event like that happens. It came home to me sharply there 2 weeks ago, when it's not just the immediate family, although they're the most severely affected. There's a whole community around the person, their activities, who they interacted with, who they hung out with, who they worked with, who they played soccer with. There's a huge network who are in total shock because of the suddenness of that event. And as you said, Guy, if there's a mental health first aiders dotted around the place, they'll be able to dampen down some of that hopelessness that people feel, and some of that loneliness that people feel, you know.
Pat,
And
just a suggestion for you know, if you're going running in for the council, why don't you put that down on one as one of your agendas?
it's already written down in my book here now,
Uh,
as as something that could be done
yeah,
without any money, really. You don't need
yeah.
a whole lot of money to do something like that, you know. You need to,
But if we
I
got,
suppose,
if you could get started like that, and someone in a council area in your area,
yeah,
that'd be a great start, you know.
The
to
course,
mobilize the
yeah,
locality, yeah.
yeah. The course is HSE approved and conducted actually. So
There you are, Pat.
You know what, John? We could have a guest speaker in Shannon on it, couldn't we, Guy? You'd
of
never
course,
know.
of
We could
course,
have a we could have a
Of
guest
course,
speaker
of course.
already in Shannon on it, you know. But
yeah,
well, mental health, of course, really it covers an awful lot, and mental health is very important. And I know that myself, because we've all been there. We bought all been there, whether we want to admit it or not. We've all been there sometime in our lives. There have always been some events that test us to the very core of our being, so to speak. And really, it's there when you have your friends. And I think a lot of men, many men, sorry, not a lot of, many men, well, today now, I see my own son now, he has his friends that he grew up with, and they're all still around, you know, that he grew up with, that he went to school with, that he worked with, that he plays soccer with. He has that, they still have that, you know, which is fantastic. You know, it's great,
Mm.
you know, and it's less of a worry when you have that support system, you know, as well. Apart from your family, you need your own independent friends as well. So that mental health first aider is something that here on the panel tonight with Guy Jones and John and myself. And if you have any suggestions for the program, or if you want to come on any night with us, you can send us an email at info@learmedia.tv. And if you have any ideas for subject matters and things we might talk about, you can let us know as well. And press the red button and tell all your friends about it. Press the red button to subscribe to our channel. We're an island. We're an island. Actually, whether we believe it or not, we are an island nation, Guy and John. And it's. I was thinking about this. I was thinking about the fishing. Do we eat enough fish, Guy? Do you eat a lot of fish in your diet?
I love it. And
You
and I do a lot, yeah, a lot anywhere and anytime. And there are definitely places that in the past you wouldn't even ask for fish, but now it is more common. So there are more people tuned into eating fish. Yeah,
and John, would you be a big fish eater?
No, but I do like fish. Um, My favorite one is always smoked haddock in
Mm.
white sauce with an onion and boiled potatoes. I got it. I'd eat
Oh,
it 7 days a week. But if you
we'll be.
can't get it now, it's very very hard to get it. They now call it smoked collie or smoked pollock or smoked haddock is and it's so expensive. It's gone
It is.
crazy. Yeah,
I, I,
and that's
I
now
like.
to Pat the fishing in Ireland. The boats, the fishermen's right. That's another subject. You could have 6 hours talking about the fishermen in Ireland and the struggles
Yeah.
they are having because of
Well,
all the foreign boats.
I
Again,
know
that
here
our
in,
governments have allowed give away our waters and our fish.
yeah, and I know here in Shannon we have fish stall here set up once a week in the market, but in the road in Limerick, I know there's 3 or 4 excellent fish shops, fresh fish every day. I do try to make a habit to have at least twice a week, or maybe more, 3 times a week. But
Mm.
certainly, I've become more conscious in the last couple of years because we were all big meat eaters. But I think fish is, do you know something? I think it's easier. I know, Guy, you probably bear this out, and John. It's easier to digest fish into your system
Yes,
than meat, you know?
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
And
True.
you don't feel as full, you feel better, I think, There's a lot to be said. Is there good fish and chips now down in Kilkenny, Guy? Nice fish and chips down there, you know?
I don't even touch it myself, but if I had to, that's being honest. If I had to, I would actually have the fish done at home.
When you're
Uh,
down in Cork the next time, John, we'll have to bring him out to Linux's, will we?
oh yeah, no, there's a one down for me called Bertie's. My God, he's
That
absolutely beautiful. The chips,
now,
you get a bag of chips, you could eat 10 people could eat for the bag of chips.
now,
yeah.
Beautiful.
in Cork City, you have a most wonderful fish market.
Oh
Oh yeah.
I have
Oh
seen the
yeah,
most amazing varieties. It
yeah,
reminds me of the Mediterranean, of what you
yeah,
find on the Mediterranean.
yeah.
It's really
English
amazing.
market, yeah.
Exactly.
did you ever eat octopus? It's very sticky fish, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. I
No, I
all the
never had
time.
octopus. No.
I suppose if you cook octopus and if you put it, as I said, if you put enough spice into anything anyway, you can eat it.
Hmm.
And
I think the
I mean, did over in the Lebanon now, would they be
Yes,
big fish eaters?
yes, yes.
oh yeah,
Yeah, all countries around the Mediterranean
Yeah.
are
yeah,
they have a huge fish based or sea based meals, and we do them in so many varieties, and the sauces that come with them as well. It's not just your regular fish and
hmm,
chips, which
Yeah,
is very very basic kind of.
yeah.
No, it's
absolutely.
extremely uh, the variety is amazing. Okay, so
But it's not
and
it's not it's not expensive, guy, is it? No,
no, it's not
no.
expensive, but
See,
there is such a demand right now on the Mediterranean for fish because anyone going, let's say, to Malta or Cyprus or
hmm,
Turkey is expecting to actually have fish and fish
yeah,
meals. So there's a
Yeah,
huge demand on fish. Therefore, the prices have gone up. Yes,
yeah.
naturally, but you could still find on the Mediterranean side some really, really nice varieties
Hmm.
and. This is what I kind of remarked when I was in the English market there. It was amazing what I could find there that I
yeah,
Yeah,
didn't, the
yeah.
red
You
mullet,
didn't.
for instance, you don't see quite often in Ireland, but it
Yeah,
was there in the market available. Yeah,
red mullet.
yeah,
Red mullet is nice. Yeah, as I said, it's not common.
it's not
Uh,
common.
they have it the odd time in Limerick, but I wouldn't see it that often now. But the market in Cork is world famous anyway. Everybody orientated towards that.
yeah.
You have the locals, John. When Guy is down in Cork, we'll meet up someday. Guy down in Cork,
Oh, I'd love
we'll
to.
bring him for a drisheen,
Hmm.
Tripe and dressing.
a bowl of tripe, and
Okay.
pig's feet. Pig's feet. Uh, you don't drink, Guy, do you?
Yes, I am a drinker, but I'm an
Okay, so
occasional
we'll,
drinker.
we'll have pig's feet and a small bottle of stout, John. How's that? A small bottle of
My
Murphy's.
God, that sounds great. Once
Ooh.
there's a bit of cabbage thrown in with the pig's feet.
Sounds like a
You
treat.
can only You can only boil it if you boil a big pig's feet and then throw in the head of cabbage. My God, the flavour is only to die for.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, lads, before we finish, I suppose, obviously we'd put up some photographs at the end of the show, and the information on the HSC courses that you brought up so kindly, guys, you brought our attention to. We'll get those in our locality as well for you later on in the program in the links, because to me, if anything good comes out of any program, the mental first aiders, that sounds just terrific, absolutely terrific, lads.
Brilliant.
And
Brilliant.
it's been another blast on another Sunday night, and we'll have a couple of girls with us next Sunday night, ladies, with us, and they're finished what they were doing the last couple of weeks, so they'll be back in harness. You know, I think one of them is in the musical society singing her heart's content. But anyway, best of luck, Laura. We'll see you back soon. And from Guy Jones, from John Lonergan, and from myself, Pat, till we meet next Sunday night again. Have a blast, lads, and thank you for your time and your company. Take care.
Pat. Thanks, John.
Thanks. Thanks, Pat.
This is Lair Media. To whom it concerns, welcome to the panel.